Hello everyone, it's the Bronze Archer bringing you my 8th episode of my F1 2018 career mode. And yeah, this race is going to be absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10 race for me really, and actually quite a crazy qualifying as well due to it being raining. Which is not very usual for us at all, to have a competition actually go our way, which is always nice. And also, another great news, my major engine upgrade arrived. Actually arrived on time. So that meant that we literally were as fast as a Ferrari in a straight line, which is ridiculous. It really helped us out, especially at, as you can see there, literally we're just like pulling away from Renault at this point. So it's just really funny, both the customer teams for Renault actually are ahead of Renault itself. Which is not ideal really, but never mind. That's what you get when you don't upgrade that much. I mean, they've done very little and upgrades, also we've done quite a lot. As you can see, I'm just going, also I choose to purchase another engine upgrade, because why not? So at this point we'll probably be just behind Haas and Alfa Romeo. So, well, we're ahead of Alfa Romeo, but we're just behind Haas, like Sauber. Well, not past Sauber, Haas and Ferrari. And this new engine upgrade will actually, because I go for another engine upgrade, I'm just having a look to see which one's best one to go for. Because I mean, I want to try and get as much power out of the car and focus on the ERS. I mean, ERS is going to be my next upgrade on the engine compartment side. And that's my upgrade now. I'm going to pass over to David Croft and Nancy Davison for practice introductions.
Welcome to the Circuit Paul Ricard here in the south of France, where we're about to get underway for free practice. I'm here with Anthony Davidson once again. Nice to see you, Ant, and I wanted to ask you about how you go about improving the car over the course of a practice session. How much would you say is already known from the pre-race simulations, and how much do you have to do, how much do you have to work on with a real car on a real circuit?
Well, that's a good question, Crofty, and I suppose the simple answer is that there's no such thing as too much information. As you say, the bigger teams have very complex simulations, vast numbers of clever people crunching the numbers back at base, but what they can't tell you is stuff like how the track condition's going to be, or what the temperature's going to be doing over the course of the day, and how all of that's going to be interacting with the tyre. There are so many millions of tiny variables involved in getting these cars around a racetrack quickly, but the computer can't tailor the car to a driver's specific balance requirements. At some point, you still need to put a human being in there and have them feel it through the seat of their pants. And that's why we end up with different drivers having different setups. So what I'm trying to say is, Crofty, nothing beats on-track testing.
The classic car lap, which will be in today's classic car, is the 1988 McLaren MP4-4 driven by Ayrton Senna and Alan Prost. Hope you guys do enjoy this lap. As this car actually raced here raced on an older layout, but it's actually raced around the circuit before, so this is why I chose this car to go and do the laps around. Hope you guys enjoy the lap. I hope you guys have enjoyed this lap, as now I'm going to pass you to David Kaufman Davidson for an introduction to a wet qualifying.
Welcome to qualifying for this weekend's French Grand Prix. The teams are making their last-minute adjustments before the lights go green, and the fight for pole position gets underway. So, could be a tasty one today then, Ants. We've got all the ingredients, that's for sure. Treacherous conditions, an ever-changing racetrack, and one or two cars just behind the pace setters who maybe, just maybe, fancy a bit of an upset after a good performance from them in free practice.
And the question has to be, of course, what is that circuit going to look like in 10 to 15 minutes from now? If you think the rain's going to get worse, then you have to be straight out when the lights go green to find whatever grip you can. But if it eases off, then you're better off waiting, saving the tyres, and going out at the perfect moment. The other thing that comes with these conditions? Traffic, and the lack of visibility that comes from sitting in the spray. It's going to be a constant problem, and I expect to see a lot of frustrated drivers with ruined laps out there today.
Let's get ready for a wet qualifying lap around the circuit Paul Ricard. You can see it going down the Stockton straight on 7th gear currently, up into 8th gear at the end of the straight. Go across, just brake, lock up a little bit there, take us on the curb. I carry a little bit too much spin, get the back end out, so I'm going to go off the circuit, cross into the blue stuff. Now back on cross, back onto the cross the curbing, now down into, I think this is like turn 3. Then through 4. This is rather slow section, it's like the same section type of thing. So you can see there's the grandstand on the exit, turn 5, and turn 6, which is a pretty good turn actually. I rather enjoy it because you can take a different lines within and still actually be quite quick. So I'm going through here flat out just about without getting the back end too loose. So I'll go into overtake mode just to get a high top speed. As you can see, we're just slightly behind Ferrari. As you can see, they're starting to pull away a little bit down the straight. Braking down into 3rd gear, taking a long curb, getting the back end out a little bit there. Going across into 2nd gear, over the curb. Straight line the exit as much as possible. Now here the air actually lift, but I lift quite late into the turn. See here, I lift a little bit later than they do, and I put the pad out and I go a little bit wide, go across the curbing there. And now I'm currently the fastest car, which is something I wasn't really planning on obviously doing. Going across the curb, just trying to avoid the exit curb as much as possible to try and keep the car stable. They require a wide line to get a tighter exit, like lace apex. Which just hug the curb on the inside, going down to the final 2 turns. Braking down to 3rd gear, just going a little bit wide. Now switching back into 2nd gear, go over the curb, cutting the power down. And as you can see here, qualifying time, P1. Our pole position. So I'm going to pass you over to David Kaufman Davidson for the race introduction. And I guys hope you enjoyed that lap. It was absolutely ridiculous. The first wet qualifying lap of the season as well, so it's pretty fun. Okay, see ya.
And Sebastian Vettel. Welcome along then to the circuit Paul Ricard, home of the French Grand Prix, home race of the Renault team, and of course a number of the drivers on the grid as well. Of the 14 races held here up until 1990, 5 were won by a Frenchman, and 4 of those, of course, were Alain Prost. I wonder who'll add their name to that winners list today. A lap of Paul Ricard then consists of 15 corners and a total length of around 3.6 miles. Drivers will need to position their cars carefully on the exit of the flat-out turn 10, ready for the double apex right-hander at 11. Watch out for potential overtaking action at the end of the start-finish straight and into the heavy braking zone of turn 8. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's talk about the Rainmaster. As with all the drivers at this level, they have a lot of ambition, but Formula One's a daunting step up from any other series, so expectations are high right from the start.
That's right, it is a difficult environment to come into. In junior categories, you're competing against drivers with similar levels of experience, but some of these guys in Formula One have been there for over a decade. But I have to say, in this case, it's so far so good.
So before the off, Let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. The Rainmaster lines up on pole position, and Kimi Raikkonen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Ricciardo, Max Verstappen and Bottas, Hamilton, Hülkenberg, Sainz and Kevin Magnussen, Grosjean, Van Dorn, Pierre Gasly and Ocon, Perez, Leclerc, Brendan Hartley and Marcus Ericsson, Sirotkin and Lance Stroll rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
You can see I have some very, very positive words from David Croft and Davidson there, so I very much appreciate that. As you can see, there's also the wet qualifying, means choose whatever tyre I wanted to start the race on. And then I just go for the default strategy which was given for me for a 2-stop race. So just risking going for longer, because I'm probably going to be slower than later on, so just be safer, I chose to just go with default strategy, put a little bit more fuel in the car to get the speed a little bit quicker. As you can see, there we go, now it's taking a little bit of time to load up. As you can see, holding down the clutch, holding down the throttle, backing off the throttle a little bit just to get optimal RPM. Get a pretty good start. As you can see, I'm going across to cover off Kimi Raikkonen and Vettel. Vettel gets a pretty good start, so is Raikkonen, so I go across. As you can see, here comes Raikkonen up on my inside, go around the outside of him. Apparently made contact with him, I don't know if I did or didn't. Take a little bit of curve on the outside there, and we take the lead, so it's pretty good. As you see, moving down to overtake mode to get a higher top end speed, and then running literally no ARS through here to try and save some. It's the best way of doing it in my opinion. Using the curve over on the exit, try and avoid that inside curb, so going up into overtake mode, go a little bit, use up as much of the track as possible, and I'm going down long back stretch. This is going to be a very very good overtaking spot for any driver during the race, so it's pretty ideal if you get close to the guy in front of you, try and overtake them, because especially down to the chicane. Heavy braking zone means you can easily launch the car from the inside, and hopefully the AI will give you room, and hopefully if they're trying to take me, hopefully I'll leave them room, which I probably won't, because it's me and I don't like losing a spot to anyone. I'm kind of aggressive. Do you see it running a log curve on the outside there? Running down into medium, now down to no ERS deployment to go through this little slow section. Here in that little same section near the bottom end of the course, actually pretty good for not running any ERS, because you can just slave it, it not really matter that much. So now going to lap number 10, nothing really happens for about 9 laps. As you see, I'm blocking off Raikkonen and going right across in front of him. As he goes around on my outside, I block him off, and he slices off his front wing there pretty much. And yeah, cruise ahead. And then I go into low ERS mode to try and save up some ERS. And then going down to the master on the curve, which used to be a little bit sharper than what it is now, but it's still very very fast. It was still very very fast back in the day. And then as we're on to lap number, I think this is lap number 12, I think, when it's happened. As you can see there, Raikkonen tries to go on my outside, he locks up there, and so I pretty much take the spot off him. Now on lap number 12, later on that lap actually, is when I come in. You see there, I drop down to 4th. We currently have already lost a driver by this point. I think the driver which we lost at this point was, I think it was Grosjean. Then, because I remember then we lost, then both Toro Rossos retired, and then Bottas retired, so not exactly ideal. As you can see coming out of the pit lane, using up a little bit of curb on the outside, and here comes Ocon. Just like a bow held nearly 200 miles per hour. Not a very safe pit lane exit in my opinion for Paul Ricard, but never mind. Nothing to redo about it. As you can see now on lap 16, going up, catching up to the back of Hülkenberg. You see this is going to be a very very good overtaking spot. As I've got a better engine than the Renault does actually, which is quite fun because I'm running the exact same power unit in theory. Dive up on the inside, go off the track. Luckily there's loads of unrock there, which is I think go straight to a gravel trap. I mean I probably should give him the place back, but he did kind of push me off the circuit, so it's fair enough. So we get the spot. And then on lap number 18 I went a little bit wide. As he's going to try to go around on my inside, as he's going to go around my outside into turn 3 and 4. So I tried to do a little switch back, doesn't really work. As I'm going through the same section of turn 5 and turn 6. As you can see here, I'm going to be really quite close to Raikkonen, obviously as I'm going to get DRS off him as well. and it just shows that, I mean, this, if I still was not using, like if I didn't put the major upgrade on this Kenji power unit, I wouldn't be able to even catch up Raikkonen. So if I look on the outside, he blocks it off, and then I literally just launch the car from the inside to the second part of the chicane. It's a pretty good exit actually, surprisingly. And now we're going on to lap number 32. So 13 laps of nothing really happening. So you see it coming into the pit lane, so is Hamilton and Vettel. They both joined me on this time, at this time period. That beeping noise is really annoying, which the thing does in the pit lane. This shows whenever cars come into the pit lane, dispute you mean that personnel walk across the track, please step off the circuit. It's currently in use, as you can see here. But then the pit lane limiter, which is really quite awkward, it's like halfway down the second half of the pit lane. Like it's not down at the end of the pit lane, which is what it normally is, but never mind. As Verstappen actually comes out ahead of me as a result of a virtual safety car coming out just after it came out of the pit lane, so it wasn't ideal at all. Don't know why it came out, it just did. As you can see, I'm making a dive bomb maneuver. Doing a very similar thing to what I did with Hulkenberg, but I managed to see him on the track this time around and get past him, which is pretty decent actually. Now this is on lap number 40. Actually, no, lap number 38, sorry. Go around, me and Verstappen have a little bit of a ding-dong battle as I go around the outside of him, and I get the overtake done going out of the chicane. Then on to lap number 39, I think that is. Yes, 39. Verstappen goes around on my inside. I push his chop on his front wing almost, pretty much. I just cut him off. And yeah, another overtake done, which is pretty ideal. Nothing out of the unordinary there, so nothing wrong with that. And yeah, he doesn't really catch up to me through here. Now it's on to lap number 47, so another 8 laps before anything really happens. As around my outside goes Lewis Hamilton, Verstappen seems to just dropped off a little bit. I think I had a little bit of front wing damage after I knocked it. As Hamilton, you see that just actually just stayed ahead of me. But like I said, this is another sign our power unit is actually pretty decent now. I mean, it might be something with DRS, but I am literally going fire. And also, you can see there, I've got a red rear wing. Means I've got no DRS, and I did on the last lap. So here, going across the line, I win the race. Victory number 3 for me, as I'm going to pass you to Anthony Davidson and David Croft for the podium celebrations.
It was a tough race at times, but they've held on to take a great victory for McLaren today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm really happy to see them there on the top step of the podium. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a good result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Difficult call, Crofty, but I'd like to say Sergio Perez. He's just so gifted at getting the most out of his tyres, and he showed that here today.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. Ferrari extend their lead at the top of the championship. It was great having you with us for this weekend. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Until next time though, goodbye.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. How are you feeling after that win? Do you think you were lucky not to end your race with that crash? Well, thanks anyway.
As you can see there, I'm currently leading my rivalry with Sol Van Dorn and also Kevin Magnussen, which is pretty decent. As you can see, I'm now getting my resource points. Not too bad. Got 96% clean lap thing, which is not that bad. It's better than what I normally get. So I'm right with that. 632 resource points, which puts over to over 1,000. As well, I also get the 400 resource points bonus as well. Again, as you can see now, majority of the teams are a little bit more impressed with me for that result. But my rule is that I'm not going to leave McLaren until after I win a World Championship. As you can see here, yeah, Jeff was not really very happy with what happened. Because I'm hearing another contract negotiations thing, and they're expecting me to qualify 6th and to finish 3rd. It basically means that I must qualify in the top 5 every single time. As I don't know about pit stop efficiency, I mean I should have probably just stayed. As pit stop efficiency is not really that bad because we got a pretty good pit stop thing anyway, but I was just a smidge over. And I'll bring it back and I go even further over for some weird reason. So now I go back down to 3rd, to 4th and 6th. If I'd probably gone for 6th and 3rd, I probably would just been enough. But failed at the 3rd time, just a little bit too much. So yeah, we have the original offer, which is nothing wrong with that. And well, like I said, we will have another time to be able to negotiate for a better deal. As you can see, there's my little stats of my race. And if you guys have enjoyed this video, as I completely forgot, wait, I can't get the second upgrade thing. Yeah, I was like, why isn't it working? I was like, oh yeah. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And if you think my content is worth subscribing to, please subscribe. Thank you. The Bronze Archer signing out.